What is going on, good people? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Say That Podcast. And y'all know the drill. Don't say this, say that. I want to thank, yes sir, I want to thank everybody who's tuning in my last episode with Nim K. She's fucking awesome. We talked about her new album, Queen of the Misfits. So go check that out right now on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. And of course, if you're watching this right here on YouTube, please leave a like and comment on both the last video and this video, and make sure to hit that subscribe button to help grow this podcast further. Also, don't forget to follow us on Apple and Spotify. Spotify, not Spotify. That does sound kind of good though, Spotify. But make sure to follow us there, and always follow us on Instagram, say_that_pod. Then my personal Instagram is REPETE617. However, today, ladies and gentlemen, I am super excited about this episode. Like, I literally was like, you know, it's one of those things that it's another guy. I know a lot of people who come on the show are a long time coming, but this guy literally is a long time coming. Generally, one of my favorite musicians and artists in the Boston music scene and beyond. Let's give it a round of applause for Justin Clancy. How are we doing?
Thank you.
I
didn't even have to pay you to say anything.
Oh, no, you don't have to pay me to do shit. Come on. I love that.
Well,
you know
we'll settle after.
Of course. Off-camera type stuff.
Yeah.
So how you doing, my man? You know what I mean?
I'm good. I'm tired. I'm really tired.
No, right. This heat's a bitch.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
you
know
well,
what I mean?
it's that, and then just like, it's the marathon, man. I'm just in it right now.
Absolutely. In it deep.
In it, dude.
In it deep, but you're running it well.
Yeah.
I was going to say.
Trying.
You're a lot of paces ahead of a couple of people. I will say that. You know what I mean?
Shit, it depends on the day, dude. I'm just trying to keep up, you know?
Right.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, it's stuff you do well. And I think anyone who has heard your music or just been around you, you know, that's the one thing that I talk to people about you. You know, you put a smile on a lot of people's faces. You're very, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's an infectious personality almost.
Thank
you know,
dude.
Generally, like, that's why when I say legit, one of my favorite people, like, to be around in the music scene, and no, like, disrespect to anybody else, but, like, you know, you get like just a good vibe. You know, you're a very personable person, is what I'll say. No, you know, absolutely. You
just catch me on good days, bro. That's it.
Right? Yeah. We all have bad days. You know, we're only human.
Yeah.
But you know, we are here today to talk about No Blondes in Heaven, the upcoming album from yourself.
Fuck yeah.
Something that I'm excited for. You know, I saw the short film, but we'll get into that later.
You sure you don't want to talk about the bottom line?
Yeah, we'll all come to that.
No.
Right. But, you know, as you sit here today, ready to release, you know, another masterpiece album. I'll call it that because I've heard your work. I know some of your work you don't like personally, but I'm like, wow, like, this is good stuff. And it's, you know, to me, it seems like one of your more important ones to date. Mm-hmm. How are you feeling? And, you know, how at this current point do you put your career into a retrospective as we're getting closer to the album release date?
I mean, it's definitely a really important project to me. I mean, I've put a lot of time and thought and care and intention behind the creative of this album in particular. And then also it's like, man, like, so much has happened since the beginning of the creation here. You know what I mean? I feel as though, like, this is something that's kind of grown with me in a sense. So it's definitely really important. And, you know, looking back on my career, it's always been just like go. And just, you know, this one I really, really took my time with.
Nice.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's, you know, perfectly said, because I feel like when a lot of people see an artist ready to drop something that they're very proud of, you can't tell you took your time with this, but B, it's like, you know, we don't look at the behind the scenes stuff. We're just like, oh, this guy's album's coming soon, you know, I'll wait. So how do you kind of like, and I've asked this about a lot of people, how do you, you know, you decompress, you know, the steps back that you take to, right, you know what I mean? We all have our own ways, but, you know, I think every creative needs to just...
What is that? What does decompress?
Like, just how, you know, if
what does that even mean?
All right, wow.
I can't. I fucking can't. I can't. This is what I live and breathe and die for. You know what I mean? I wish I had the luxury of decompressing.
Interesting. Okay.
I think maybe like once or twice a week I get an hour where I can just play Call of Duty or something.
Yeah.
But the rest, it's just swimming in my head. Okay. Even if I'm not actively doing something music related, it's still swimming.
Yeah.
You know, and it's
Absolutely.
Just a constant. I'm a psycho.
Yeah.
I'm
always
really,
feel like you got to be doing something. Right?
I'm a sick man. Yeah, I'm always thinking connecting dots, trying to make something happen, make something work. It's all I've ever known. All I've done is just hustle and move. That's it.
Absolutely.
You know,
because looking back at your career from my perspective, I did kind of discover you a little later into your career. You already dropped The Color Blue. You already just dropped all these just amazing projects and songs. So when
thank you.
I come across you because you are a North Shore kid like myself. Shout out Peabody. Shout out the North Shore. But I never experienced the stuff you did. But hearing a story like that is just so incredible, and that's the stuff that people gravitate towards. Is not that I don't want to say people feel sorry for you, but people it's so easy to root for you because of how your spirit is about just music and these other things. So when I'm looking at the career of Justin Clancy and I'm seeing all right, No Blondes in Heaven's coming soon, it's really I'm enjoying your art through you. You know what I mean? I'm
we're one almost.
In a way, but because I just appreciate the I'll call it the cinematic side of what a lot of people do with music, and you did with this short film. I was like, wow, that's I need more of that from other people. Whether you want to do that again for another album or whatever, that would be perfect. But you're not afraid to take that next step.
No,
you know what I mean. You're not afraid to kind of try something different, whether it be this short film, or something in retrospective to your career. So that to me is what is so special about you. And more importantly, why I'm really looking forward to this album. But this is how we kind of get into the album right here. So right. I do want to talk about how you did come up with the idea for this album and how you wanted to start it off with a short film and then have it kind of progress from there. Because as you said, with No Blondes in Heaven, you've basically we've been on that journey with you.
Yeah,
almost.
For sure. I mean, I guess it kind of hatched organically. I can't necessarily pinpoint exactly when I knew what the whole album was going to sound like, because I didn't until the end of it.
Yeah.
Until I was like, okay, this feels like the last song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
However, the short film is something that I've always wanted to do. Mm-hmm. I mean, as you know, I direct all my music videos. Mm-hmm. I'm a very visual artist. I'm very hands-on.
Yes.
And I've always wanted to do a short film narrative. And I feel as though with this album, it's almost like you're entering a new world, a new season of me as an artist, so to speak. So I felt what better way to usher the listener in than, this drawn out piece or body of work. Yeah, and it was a big risk, you know what I mean? No one gives a fuck about long form content anymore. No one gives a shit. No one cares. You know what I mean? I care.
Yeah.
I care.
And I feel like that's all that matters, is for the person to care, because the industry kind of wants you to make the content that they want you to make.
Right.
When in reality, that's the stuff that gets put at the forefront. But just like any, independent film, it's always better if you dig deeper and actually see the people who are putting out that long form content,
right? Who
are world building. I'll say yourself. I like how you use the term seasons, though. That's very a different way of looking at it. But in a way, that's world building too. So, that's like I said, that's just the stuff that we need in order for the industry to not eat itself alive. And I know you actually talked about this on Instagram. You were like, the short film was, numbers wise, wasn't one of your best stuffs, but you're still proud of it regardless. And I think that really speaks to why you just don't give a fuck about the numbers when other people get caught up in them.
I mean, to say I don't give a fuck about the numbers would be a lie.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because, of course I'll say that, but there's still that side of me that yearns for gratification. Mm-hmm. And in this social media parasocial world we live in, really the only pedometer we have for that gratification is shares and likes and interactions. But removing myself from that and just looking at it from a bird's eye view, as a body of work, I'm incredibly proud of it. Absolutely. It's a beautiful piece of art. It's an analytical fucking failure. But,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, just like all the number, it's a fucking failure for sure, but not to me.
No, right.
You know what I mean?
And
not to my team that was on it either.
And as a fan of yourself, I still wouldn't even look at it like that.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not just to humor you or something like that. I'm generally like, you know, because that put me into that like put the stuff like that I do in perspective, because I do get caught up in numbers. You know, I don't like how we equate ourselves by that. It almost feels like literally
Me neither.
like a mental slavery type of thing. Like you just put a number on yourself,
Word.
like you're another prisoner almost.
But that's just the world. That's just the world we live in. You know what I mean?
And it really, yeah, of course. And it's just, part of me like tries to fight it so much.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's my personal problem is, yes, I don't give a fuck about the numbers some days. Other days I do. Other days it's like, why the fuck am I still doing this if I'm not even at like 1K on YouTube subscribers? You know, luckily Instagram's been going up and all that. But even still, there's days with reels and it's like, you know, I just put all this time into making this reel for what?
Right.
You know,
But
I
it's a
come up here,
paradox.
right, and I come up here, you know, from Boston to here and then back to here for what? You know, but as you're saying, you know, it's a paradox.
Shit. Well, I mean, also it's like whatever makes you happy and whatever feeds your spirit, you need to just remind yourself and keep that on the forefront.
Of course.
That's what I do with my art. Because I know, like, when I was a kid writing poems in my room, I wasn't having any monthly listeners. I wasn't having any likes. I made music before TikTok and Instagram. I'll make music after TikTok and Instagram. You know what I mean? I didn't do it for that. It's not a fashion statement.
Absolutely
You know what
not.
I'm saying? And so just keeping that on the forefront. And also, like, dude, it's so important to break the fourth wall. With these, like I said, these
Absolutely.
parasocial.
Absolutely.
It doesn't exist.
Right.
What matters most is, like, you've been to my shows.
Of course.
You've seen
multiple.
It. You know
of
what
them,
I
right.
mean? Like, you see, it's real,
Yeah.
real life, something
Yeah.
tangible. And even like what I'm doing with these listening parties, you know, like I just went across the country and filled a room with real people on the other side of the country to
And
listen.
in Los Angeles, right?
Yeah, in LA, the most
Right.
pretentious fucking place.
Yeah, no shit, right.
But like filled it with people that listen to the music. You know what I mean? Real people that I can reach out and poke, you know, or be like, hey, what did you think of this song?
Right.
You know? So it's important to know that, like, it's not real.
Yeah.
As much as we get caught up in like
The veil.
it's my only form of gratification, within that same breath, it's just not,
It's not.
real.
No.
You know?
Right. And, you know, you promoting this show, which, by the way, this episode will come out before. So August 16th at the Brighton Music Hall. Make sure you're there. I'll be there for sure. I know a lot of people, other people will be, but make sure you are there. Get your tickets now on Ticketmaster, actually. Like you said, I've been to your shows, and the support is just unbelievable. Like,
Thank you.
literally, you know, you performed at Boston Calling. I unfortunately couldn't make it for that, but seeing the tape of that, you know, you've one of my favorite things you've done, and I've always said this. Oops, sorry. I've always said this to myself. You were one of the last people to perform at the Viper Room in Los Angeles. Like one of the most like infamous and iconic places out there. And you were like one of those last people. So you're really like out here. And yet you don't let any of that bother you. And it's just so awesome because I can see who it bothers. Me being one of them, but just the other people. And it's like, you're just creatively and mentally, you're just so much better of a person. I'm thinking to myself about these people than that.
Thank you.
You know, like you're just, you and, you know, a bunch of other my creative friends, it's like, mostly the ones that like it does bother them.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, I don't want you to be that mental slave. I don't want you to like you said, like put that number on yourself, because what you do is so much better than what's on the page.
Right.
And I just would,
you.
and I just, you know, I need a lot of more people to understand that.
Well, it's important.
Right.
What we do
Because you
is
can lose
important.
yourself so easily.
Yeah, and it's not even that. It's like what we're doing right now is like, it's like art. It's sacred.
Absolutely.
This is a sacred thing.
It's like literally like art museum. Like I'll put like some of your videos in the Museum of Fine Arts.
Thank you.
Like it's that type of shit. Like
Thank
like
you.
the what's it called, the National Archives, where the, you know, the Criterion Collection, all,
Right,
like
right,
all
right.
those like high volume, like the ones that make all time movies.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's where the
appreciate
art
that.
lies.
I appreciate that. And it's like so much bigger than me. It's so much bigger than all of us. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
What it is you're making something that can last forever, but we treat it as though it's only as good as a 6-second clip. You know, this is the most important thing in the world. Throughout time and history, the only thing that's proven true is the arts.
Absolutely.
It's always been there.
Right.
It's you know, it's always there, and it's always so incredibly important to the culture, to the people. I mean, you know, you have people coming and saying that, like, oh, this song saved my life, or this saved my life, or like, I know I have artists that I'm like, yeah, that guy saved my life. You know what I mean? So it definitely far exceeds any type of boundaries that they try and put on us, right? And by they, I mean like these big companies or these gatekeepers and like all these people acting like, you know,
They think they have your best interest, but
well, no. So what it is like, as artists, we're being pimped every single day by the algorithm. We're being pimped every single day by these giant platforms and made to feel as though if we're not getting the reach that some of these other artists are getting, we're not good or good enough, or you know what I mean? It's just one giant fucking exploit. And you know, like I said prior, you just keeping on the forefront that like, this is bigger than me. This is for art, you know, and that's why I give a fuck. So I give a fuck. I really care.
Yeah.
I really care. And it might not be now, it might not be next week or next month, but I know eventually something will hit and it'll be even fucking exponentially larger than it is now.
Right. I mean, because, you know, you've been on these worldwide tours. You know, you've seen and actually connected with people worldwide and across the country.
Yeah.
So, and that's a lot more than like a lot of other people can say who have been out here. And that's what's really important too, is because a lot of people just think the ones that are trying to come up and like they want that, like, you know, that instant hit, that
Fuck
like
no.
You know what I mean?
No.
And I say this all the time on this podcast. If I blew up after episode 5, I wouldn't know what the fuck to do. No. Like, you know what I mean? I wouldn't appreciate the grind. I wouldn't appreciate all this shit. So it's so important to just keep your nose down and actually like go out there and connect with somebody. Because I've seen people that have, you know, your tattoos on them, like they, you know, they got on tattoos of either your song lyrics, the logos and stuff like that. Like, that's connection. That's reaching out your hand and grabbing that other person's hand and being like, you know, my art can help.
Yeah.
My music, like, in a way, save you.
Where? Well, when you go, you can't take your followers and views and likes with you.
Absolutely not.
You know, what are you going to leave behind?
Right.
You're going to leave behind art? You're going to leave behind dog shit.
Say that.
Fake.
You know what I mean?
You know?
Say that. And this is why I love, like, that you're here right now, because this is all the stuff that, you know, I was prepping for this interview. Like, this is...
Oh, you know I get into it.
Right. This is the meat. This is the meat and sauce of that shit.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, I'm so hungry, bro.
Yeah, not to make you even more hungry, but yeah.
Sauce.
All right. So as, you know, I'm kind of getting back to the album, you know, the title, No Blondes in Heaven, at first glance to me, it seems like very, like, there's maybe some spiritual elements on this album. You know, maybe you hint at with some of in your short films, there's a lot of different metaphors and hidden messages.
Yeah.
So, you know, is there any role that, you know, maybe faith, you know, doubt in like an afterlife or like mortality kind of play in this album? Or
all of it. Yeah. I'm glad that you picked up on that. I mean, I always do, like, throughout the course of my career, most specifically my latter stuff, I play on the concept of religion and like the heaven and hell and God and all that stuff, because like naturally I teeter-totter between the belief in God, the belief in a heaven or higher power, things like that. And that's one of the things that I juggle on the album. Another thing too is like I always like destroying beauty. Like, you saw it like on the ugly parts. Like you take a song like Noose and it's like a beautiful, melodically it's beautiful. It's major. It has all these great, you know, melodies and chords, whatever. And it's just the darkest fucking lyrics ever. And it's all intentional. So I guess just taking that idea of beauty, and it's, you know, that's why I have the girls shaving their heads in the videos. It's just... fuck it, peel it back, you know, because everything's superficial. Everything is so superficial, artificial, fake.
Right, our standards of what we decide is beautiful are just non-existent now.
Right,
because they are all, everyone's is different.
Right, you know? Right. And it's like, what even is the heaven that you speak of?
Right.
But also it stems from, like, you know, growing up, like I was a towhead. You know, my mom was also blonde, and you know the hardships that we endured. I would often wonder, like, you know, is this gonna get better for us? Like, what's gonna happen to us? So on and so forth. So thus stems like the no blondes in heaven. Like,
Of course.
you know,
Right. And I just think that's, you know, another layer to, you know, I don't want to say the Clancy story, but the seasons of Clancy. Like,
Yeah.
you know, we're going to look at beauty in a different way on this album.
Yeah,
more
yeah.
differently than you did on the ugly parts.
right. And I don't sound. I don't sound the same twice.
Absolutely not. Right.
You know what I mean?
It's
like,
all
it's all
completely
very different.
Right.
I'll show you after.
Of course, absolutely. I appreciate that.
It's really
you know
good.
what I mean? So, as you've said, you know, as we've talked about you know, connecting with your fans and stuff like that, is there any way that or anything that you want people to feel on this album specifically? You know, not really think, but more so like feel like in inside themselves.
It's always subjective, you know. That's why typically, like, I hate going in depth about what songs are about, or like what titles mean and stuff, because I could say something and someone could hear it another way and be like, oh damn, like that's not even how the artist sees it. I see it some other way. Like, it won't mean the same to them. So at the end of the day, what it is like how it's received is how it's received, and I can't control that. I can control every other narrative based around me, based around right here. You know what I mean? But outside of that, it's all subjective. So I would love for people to just feel whatever they want to feel, and like they can have that.
Absolutely, because taking it back to the short film, you know, I wasn't there for the actual like release of it, but I did see it at midnight, and watching it like that late at night, I'm like, you know, because at night your mind races. It just goes off on a tangent. But looking at it, you know, looking at the raw aggressiveness of like a lot of the themes, I was like, wow, like this isn't the ugly parts in the sense of the definition of beauty is still there, but it's more beautifully raw.
Yeah.
I'll say, you know, whether it's how you did the colors and like how you did all these different scenes, you know, you walking up the stairs, you know, with the knives in your back. It's like there's so much to pull from that that it's gonna like almost like your music career can become a freaking college course, like of how you just
dude,
like you know like you know how
crazy.
there's like history of hip hop and stuff like
Yeah.
that, but like I feel as though, you know, and as someone which I gotta congratulate you on getting your diploma from Peabody High. That was such an awesome moment right
Yeah, that
there.
was
Like you
great.
said,
Yeah.
that was your Coachella. That was like,
Oh yeah, that was sweet.
that's something that, you know,
Mostly
yes,
for my
Justin.
mom. Mostly because my
Of
mom
course.
was there, and I was able to like do that for her. You
course.
know.
Right. But that was just fucking awesome.
Thank
you know, it's good that you've made that impact in your community from like friggin' you were rocking the Peabody hockey jersey. You know what I mean? That's a dope fit right there.
Yeah.
But it just all comes back to how you, excuse me, you just don't change for anybody. You know, you're very authentically raw.
Oh, thank
And you know, and this isn't like, because, you know, I'll humor a lot of people on this podcast, but with you, it's like, I'm going to keep it a buck. You know, I can't really find a lot of flaws in the game, and that's not a bad thing. You know, I'm sure, you know, we're all our biggest critics, right? But coming from the outsider standpoint looking in, it's like, all right, I didn't go through what you went through. I didn't have that journey, but mentally, you know, maybe I did. Maybe, you know, I did feel shitty about myself. Maybe I didn't feel like, you know, I belong in this place. Like, you know, but so that's why I gravitate towards that. You know, I didn't have to be from the North Shore the same as you to actually do that. I could have been from bumfuck Nebraska,
Right.
and it felt that way.
Yeah, love bumfuck Nebraska.
Right, exactly.
It's
Yeah.
one of my favorite.
One of your favorite tour spots, right?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I love the
Absolutely.
Midwest. dude.
Yeah, you pack in a crowd out there. We'll
Midwest
say that.
gets
Yeah,
down.
I seen the Webby clips and stuff of that. I'm like,
Oh,
okay,
yeah,
all right,
yeah.
yeah. Maine too.
Yeah.
Maine's a great area for that shit. But yeah, it's just because I remember you were on Boston's Big Four and you talked about the color blue, and you're like, this is just bullshit. Like I was like, wow. He really feels that way about that one. Like that one's got so many good stuff on it, so much good stuff on it.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Oh well. So here's the thing, right?
Right.
And I'll tell you why I felt that way about that album. I work really hard now, and I appreciate you noticing that I am authentically myself. It took me a very long time to get here, and it took me many, many years of like hating myself. And this is still something that I deal with on a regular basis, behind the scenes, mental health stuff, like whatever. But I will say, I was still trying to find who I was during that Color Blue timeline. And there were moments where I wasn't being my truest self. And nobody knows that other than me. And also, it's like I shed the skin of that person. You know, like I've changed so drastically since I put that project out, like so drastically.
It's just a bigger evolution of your artistry.
Right.
So this kind of brings me back to it's a kind of a double question. So how did No Blondes in Heaven, you know, challenge you personally, and from the Color Blue, as we just said, to now, where does this new album sit in the story / like what part of the journey are we on in terms of, like, as you said, the season?
I mean, I couldn't tell you where in the journey we're at. You know what I mean? It's ever evolving, ever growing. It's just always building. You know, but I can tell you, the process of making this album was like way more fucking painful than like anything else. And it was because I was so caught up in like, okay, so when we started making the album, right, I was fresh off the tails of like nonstop touring, moving all around, these big crowds, whatever. And there was such a drastic difference between like who I was when I was on stage and then who I was at home, because you got to keep in mind, like, I had moved back from LA with nothing in 2021. Nothing, tail tucked between my legs, sleeping at my mom's house, right? I wound up like crashing my car. I didn't have a job, right? And this was like while I was putting out the ugly parts, and I signed this deal that was bogus.
Which I love the speech you gave at one of your last shows at Sania about that.
Oh yeah.
If you remember that correctly, I don't
that
know
was
what
good.
you said.
Yeah,
right? That was
it
great.
was probably the same
stuff.
fuck labels rant I did, but at that moment in time, I was at such a incredibly low. Then I put ugly parts out. So we sold out the Middle East downstairs. All these things started happening. Then I began touring, and I did my first headline tour. And then I went on tour with Webby for like fucking ever. You know? And things on the outside were building, and I put out like Run from the Devil, and like, you know, how do I top a fucking horse? How do I beat a horse riding down Railroad Ave? Like, that was my mentality. So like,
blocked off the whole street for that.
Right. But then I would go and I would go and I'd play for like 2,000 people in Canada, and then, you know, sign autographs and people getting these tattoos and all this shit. And then I'd go home back to my mom's house and like take out the trash for my mom and grandma and like, you know what I mean? I was door dashing, bro. Wow. I was door dashing.
Holy shit.
I've never talked about this before because it was like degrading, because, and I'm not saying it's degrading to DoorDash by any means, but it was degrading because people would recognize me. So I'd drop off a DoorDash order and somebody would be like, yo, you're Justin Clancy, right? And I'd be like, yeah.
Fuck.
And they like, I remember one time I dropped off a DoorDash order and someone was like, yo, you got tickets on you for your next show? And I sold them tickets with the DoorDash order. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, imagine going and playing for thousands of people and then going home, borrowing your mom's car to DoorDash and making like $100 a night for several hours, driving all over the place.
All over the fucking place.
People just
barely tipping,
just getting treated like fucking shit. Yeah. So when I say like I've been eating shit,
Absolutely.
You know. So now obviously my life is significantly different. Now I have my own really nice car. I have my own really nice place in West Roxbury.
Doing a great job for the community.
Yeah, and it feels good. But So I was just so down on myself and doubted myself so heavily. So going into the creation of this album, it was like dark. I was in a very dark place. I had just gotten out of this relationship. I had gotten cheated on wicked bad, you know what I mean? And I'd never been in a situation where I've been like cheated on so significantly. And I was like, man, like, who am I? What am I? A lot of soul searching, a lot of experimenting, and a lot of like making something and then deleting it. Or it would be on the album, and then like 2 months later, it wouldn't be on the album, and then my boys would be like, "Yo, what the fuck are you doing, dude?" You know, and I learned to stop second guessing. I wouldn't say that I gained a certain level of confidence, but I gained a level of understanding my instinct as an artist and trusting my instinct. Like the first thought is always the best thought, you know, from a creative standpoint. Doesn't matter what anybody says, because when you get in the way of the art, that's typically the second thought, third thought, fourth.
Right.
You know, I didn't want to give myself any room to overthink it anymore.
You start to lose yourself almost after you keep
right
getting in your head more.
Right, because it's like, dude, I'm never going to make another Run from the Devil.
No.
I'm going to make a different song, though.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm never going to make another fucking Bottom Line. Thank God. But, like, I'll make a different song.
Yeah.
Results are subjective.
Right.
But it's there.
Of course.
The art is there, and it came from a place of sincerity.
Yeah.
And that's all you can ask for.
Wow. That was, like, literally, that's one of, like, the best things someone has said on this show. No joke.
Man, get the fuck out
I'm dead serious, because you just, the way you go in depth about yourself, you know, it's self-awareness, you know, but it's
too self-aware, bro. I fucking hate it.
But I think,
wish
honest to God,
stupid,
like,
dude.
Sometimes, but I gotta say, you know, use that to your advantage, because I feel like that's how we get the great art. You know, being hard on yourself, like being like, I'm hard on myself 24/7. I'm thinking like, you know, I'm thinking 5 steps ahead, and I'm not even at step 1 yet.
Oh my God,
you know,
yeah.
It's like all the fucking time. It's like, you know, speaking. I'm glad you said the stuff about DoorDash, because that's kind of where I'm at right now too. You know, I'm still working for my mom's and shit like that, and I'm moving into a new place in September, which is dope. You know, I'm happy about that I finally get, you know, that like level of independence, and I'm not in after 20. I moved there in 2002 to Revere, so like, well, at least the spot I'm at in Revere, so fucking 22 years of living in that same bedroom, I actually could finally, you know, grow up a little bit, and it's not like a college dorm situation where, you know, I could fuck around sometimes. It's like, now it's like, all right, let's buckle the fuck down, let's find a job. You know, you just graduated from Emerson, dude. Like, let's like eat at this shit.
Yeah, but timelines are different for everybody. Everybody's story is different. You know, what matters most is what you do with it. Yeah. It's all different for everyone. It's That's like, true. Are you going to, like, kill yourself over it? Or are you going to fucking thug it out?
Yeah.
You know?
You got to thug it out.
You have to.
We need people. We need the folks here.
You
like,
have to. Right? You have to. So, you have no choice.
Absolutely.
You know?
And as this episode gets released before we head to Brighton Music Hall for the album release party, you know, if anyone has been to a Clancy show, you know, they know what to expect. But to those who haven't been to a Clancy show, what can they expect when you take over Brighton Music Hall once more?
Oh, man. High energy, live band, people singing along. Mm-hmm. It's the best show in Boston. I mean, I am the best performer in Boston. One of the best, easily.
Absolutely.
I put on a fucking one killer show.
And I think if even the people that don't like your music can even say like you're the best, one of the best performers in Boston. Easily, like stage presence, fan connectedness while you're on the stage, you know, freaking losing your voice every night over it, you know?
Right.
So it absolutely can.
Oh, it wasn't always like that though. Like the only reason why I'm so good with that kind of thing, and I can say it confidently, like I'm a fucking beast on stage.
Absolutely.
I know exactly what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah.
And the only reason why is because I fucked up so bad, so many times, over and over again. Like, I've been doing shows since I was 16 years old. Do you want to hear about my first show ever?
Yeah. Absolutely. I was just about to ask you about like something like that or another show around that.
Dude, my first show ever. I was 16. It was at this place called Kevin's Bar and Grill in Lynn.
I don't think I'm too familiar. Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't have heard about it because it got shot up a week later and closed.
Holy shit.
So we do the show, right? And I pull up. For some reason, I had like a backpack just full of weed. Don't know why. Yeah. Like mason jars, bud, and backpack, snapback on, obviously.
Of course.
'Twas the era,
Absolutely.
Right?
Era swag, baby. I remember it well.
I get on there. And of course, I need a hype man. Yeah. So I bring my boy, who's like way taller than me, and we're backstage. Well, not backstage, but we're behind the club, smoking a cigarette, getting ready to go on. Yeah. And mind you, there were a couple people there. You know what I mean? There were like 15 people, something like that. Mm-hmm. And we're behind the club. We're smoking a cigarette, and it's me, my boy, and this big security guard, right, for the club. And he looks at me, he's like, "You a rapper?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Who's that?" I'm like, "That's my boy, that's my hype man." He goes, "He doesn't look very hype." And my boy's like, "No, I'm hype. And he's like, "Nah, he don't look fucking hype at all." And he's like, "I'm hype." He pushes him, and he's like, "Get more hype." And he's like, "All right, I'm hype." And he's like, "Take your shirt off now."
Holy shit.
And my boy's like, "All right." He takes his shirt off, right? So we go running up. There's no stage. It's just a floor. Yeah. Right? We go running up, dude. Somehow he gets the louder mic. I get the not so loud mic. I'm up there, shirtless dude, jumping up and down. He's fucking all of it up. Yeah. The ceilings were like this. Yeah. And he was hitting his head off the fucking ceiling.
Short-ass ceiling. Yeah, I've been to those kind of pubs.
Dude, insane. And then suddenly out of nowhere, the music cuts out and the DJ's like, "Freestyle." And I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah. Nightmare fuel. Just nightmare fuel. Yeah. But like, that's like how I came up. It's all trial and error. You know what I mean? But you have to put yourself in a position in order to learn the trial and error. Of course. Because even still after that, like I was doing the open mics, like you know, the Opus and shit like that, like using like you remember the Wonder Bar? You remember the fucking
Wonder Bar in Boston?
Mind Spray?
Wonder Bar in Boston? Yeah. That was where I had my 100 days to graduation when I was in college.
Yeah, they used to have this thing called Mind Spray.
No shit.
And people would like compete and perform and whatever. I've dealt with it all.
Yeah, that was such a great place.
Yeah, dude, it was awesome.
It was fucking awesome.
But like things like that, and like even still, like when I first got sober, one of the first things I did was book a show. I knew I had to. Yeah. I've been doing this forever. I've done thousands of shows. Yeah, I performed thousands of times. And I knew like one of the first things I had to go and perform. And the only show I could find was opening up for Cassidy in Warwick, Rhode Island.
Okay.
I was on probation, so legally I couldn't leave the state of Massachusetts. Yeah. But I still left and went and opened up for Cassidy, and like a bunch of people went from like my community, and this girl actually wound up getting arrested because she had one of those house arrest
ankle monitors.
Ankle monitors on.
She must have been way out of
range. So she got
range.
pinged. She also was not supposed to leave Massachusetts. Right. Whatever. But like, the point of it all is you know, you got to put yourself in position and just. It's better to do and fail than not do at all, you know? You just got to get... And that's, like, one of the most important things. Like, Slug taught me that, like, from Atmosphere. Yeah. It's, like, the first time we ever met, we had, like, a 2-hour-long conversation. I was probably 20 years old. And this was right around the 20th anniversary. Are you an Atmosphere fan?
I am not. I had known about them through you.
Are you an Atmosphere fan?
I like the stuff, yeah.
So this was, like, during like I think it was the 20th anniversary of Overcast, which was like one of his first albums, and he's still selling out House of Blues size venues at this time. So he had this like realization, like holy shit, like I've been doing this like at a high level longer than like Grandmaster Flash or something like that. And I asked him like, you know, how do you do that? And he told me you have to get really, really good at failing, like extremely good at failing. So that's just kind of what I've done. I've just gotten really good at fucking up. Yeah. You know? Really good at it. And I've fucked up enough times to where it's like now I know I don't have to fuck up.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because it's the stuff that you say does resonate with me because I've fucked up too many times that I can count.
Right.
But at the end of the day, when you put it like that, it does make me feel like it is okay.
Yeah, well,
like we're not aiming for the fuck up each time.
Word.
Right?
Like podcast.
Right, exactly. Like
how many...
that's what I tell people all the time, dude.
Yeah.
I was out of commission for 18 months. I literally made a story saying that like this shit is over. And then lo and behold, I'm like, AOA Studios opens up, so I'm like, okay, maybe it's not fucking over.
No, but even the little stuff, even like setting up the podcast,
right,
and like recording it proper,
right.
How many times have you fucked up in order to be competent?
At Staples, too many fucking times.
Yeah.
Here, I like to think my fuck ups are few and far between, but
that
early Say That run was just, that first year was just as much, and I'm thankful that people were supportive of it.
Right.
But holy fuck.
Yeah. But you have to pay your fucking dues. You have to pay dues.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest reasons why there's so many flash in the pan artists. And they come and they go, and you never fucking see them again. You never hear from them again. And it's because they didn't put themselves in a position over and over on a very low level.
Yeah.
To where they had the ability to be able to navigate the trials and the errors. And going back to like what you said earlier, it's like, somebody blows up tomorrow, what the fuck are you gonna do? Are you fucking ready?
Right.
Probably not, dude. No.
You're
Probably
gone
not.
in a month.
You're gone.
You're gone. That's it.
I'm trying to.
How was your month? You know
fact.
what I mean?
That's what separates me from those motherfuckers.
Right.
Is when that moment comes for me, I'm here forever.
Right.
I'm not going anywhere.
As if you already are, but yes, I do understand you.
Right.
But and that's so great to hear about how you're putting your career into this like retrospective, how like you're being very vulnerable about this shit. There are no lies. There's no like, yes, you see the good moments, but here's the bad moments.
Right.
Here's the shit that people really need to hear instead of the shit you want them to hear. So
that's all bullshit.
It is.
Everybody wants to, and you know what I fucking hate out here?
What's up?
Motherfuckers that act famous.
Yeah. It's
I hate
humble
that.
yourself, please.
I hate artists out here that act like they're famous.
Right.
That is so fucking whack, dude.
Yeah,
like, just be you. Like, I'll come up and say I was playing for thousands of people and then door dashing, dude. You know what I mean? Like,
seriously.
Come on.
And you got to imagine the ones that act famous are probably going through the same way, but they just don't have the guts to admit it.
People don't like that.
Right.
People just don't like that.
And that's the thing. I want people to appreciate that.
I do this for the people.
Right.
I got nothing to... What am I going to impress? Who am I going to impress acting like that?
Only you got to impress... Only you got to impress is yourself.
Right. Not even. I don't even want to. I don't even like myself most of the time. I don't want to impress myself. You know?
Fuck. Wow. Yeah.
Fuck that. I just want to... All I know is just making art and just being myself, dude. Like, I could have $1 million and I'd still be the same fucking asshole.
Right. I mean, I say that shit about myself too. It's like, I do hope that, this leads somewhere, but I look at people who have changed through that and it's like, wow, you just suck. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? You're just like this pompous motherfucker who thinks like, you're all that in a bag of chips. And it's like, you have put on the facade for so long. You've gotten you get up every day and put on a mask that I know you do. All right. Because before you blew up, you were like, oh, this humble guy and all that shit. But then after it's different, it's like, fuck you.
But what does blow up even mean?
But that's the other thing too. It's like, all right, I can't think of how many times I've said this on because I scroll TikTok sometimes and I'll come across this person who's like 1.5 million followers. I'm like, who the fuck are you? Like, with all this shit.
Right.
Like, there's this dude, he's, like, big overseas. His name's, like, Kirby LeMay or some shit like that. Freaking first time I found out about him was he was in Fortnite, right? So I'm like, how famous is this guy? 80 million followers.
Holy
Never
shit.
heard of him.
Oh.
It's just, but that's what we're talking about with social media, dude.
That's good for him.
It's right, good for him, but it's like, that's the one story that surprised me so much because, like, that's a big reach. That's a fuck ton of reach.
Right.
But, like, not that I'm this person, but, like, I've never heard of you.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people who I don't never heard of you. So that's what I mean with the veil of social media. It's like, where's the substance? Mm-hmm. Where's that connection? Where does that person reach out to me and say, like, hey, what's up? What's up with it? What's good?
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. And that's why I'm glad that you said the stuff that you've said here tonight. That's why. But we're not done yet because I want to ask you a couple more
Yeah,
things.
fuck yeah, I'm here, dude. Let's go. I've been yapping too much.
Right. You've obviously been very vocal about, your past struggles with addiction. Obviously.
Oh, yeah, here it comes. Ask me about heroin.
No,
Come on.
don't worry about it.
Get it over with.
I've had that talk with the guy I told you about earlier, so yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah, I'm not asking about no freaking drugs and shit like that. But, where I work in Faneuil Hall, over the years, I've been there since 2013, we do have a public restroom, and unfortunately, we do have addicts who go down there, shoot up, and they've had to be, resuscitated. I feel as though, and you working where you work, you may see this a little bit more. There is a big problem in the state with that, obviously across the country, but I just see it in the forefront because we are in the state of Massachusetts, right? In Boston specifically. So I want to get your take on this. What changes do there have to be? What understanding of this disease of addiction do people have to understand that they may have a stereotype of it? And also, is there something about it that people will probably never understand no matter how many times it gets said?
So, the epidemic itself is a paradox. It doesn't matter where you put the money. It doesn't matter what happens. What matters most is, does this person want to get help or not? You see it so many times, and I see it personally, where it's like, I've worked with people who are on the street and they get housing. They don't want it. They can go and example, there were like these I don't want to name specific names in Boston, but like there were these houses, and it was set up for the homeless population in a specific area, and they would go and they wouldn't know what to fucking do with themselves. So they'd go back on the street. They had an apartment, but they go back on the street. What really needs to happen is it needs to be pre-intervention. We need to start early education with the younger kids. That's where it starts. And honestly, I believe there's a direct pipeline between doctors and what they prescribe and kids. Because growing up, at least for me, I had that notion inside my head that like I needed chemicals in order to be normal. So gradually throughout my adolescence, those chemicals became less and less prescribed and more, self-prescribed. And it's because I was indoctrinated into the idea of needing a chemical solution to an internal dilemma. Right. So I feel as though starting there and starting early would be way more beneficial than running around like a bunch of chickens with their fucking heads cut off. Because really, at the end of the day, there's nothing you can do. You cannot save. Everybody wants to come into the fucking, addiction world with this fucking savior complex. When really, at the end of the day, what it is you can't save anyone. You can only make them realize they're worth being saved. And that's it. That's where the fucking buck stops, dude. Granted, we live in Massachusetts. We have so many resources. There are so many grants. There are so many amazing things happening within the realm of addiction and mental health treatment in Massachusetts that is not like anywhere else in America. We have the things that you need. Right. Bandwidth, not so much. The demand is very high. But I feel like expanding on those things. There used to be this place called the Island.
Yes, I've heard about that with the bridge. And I've actually, when I go to the South Shore, I pass the island because I passed through the rungs of the broken bridge on that ferry.
Yeah.
Right.
And the closing of the island really capsized it. Really capsized it. Because, they had everything there. They had shelters. They had treatment centers. They had detoxes. They had
granted,
housing.
While they were isolated, it still was more beneficial.
Well, it wasn't isolated in the sense of like, let's put all these fucking homeless people on an island. It was isolated in the sense of everything is centralized before transitioning into civilization.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it from a clinical standpoint, like it starts here. Like you don't just wake up and fucking do that. What it is it's the Scooby-Doo effect. In Scooby-Doo when they take off the mask?
Yeah.
for me, when the mask got taken off and it was like, oh, I knew it was you, drugs or whatever, and you take it, and it's just like, no, it's actually like trauma. It's actually like depression, undiagnosed mental health or disorders, personality disorder, whatever. At the root of the issue is much deeper than just the drug, you know? So it's how can we figure that out? And oftentimes people need to be in a more controlled environment in order to get to the root of it, myself included.
Absolutely. And I appreciate that you have said, the indoctrination part of it, because a lot of my friends, and I had this talk with one of my friends, is it depressed me how, like, we'll be on vacation and he'll need, like, 3 pills or something like that, let's just say. And it's like, I just look at him, I look at my other friend, it's like, you're just such good people. Mm-hmm. And, being a good or bad person really doesn't have it, but, like, as the good person you are, like, that's why when I go to the doctors, I'm, like, very adamant. It's like, I don't want that. I will rather treat it naturally. But with, my friends, it's like, I feel like they took this, like, sweet kid, gave him some shit that they thought he needed and they thought they could turn into profit, and now he's all fucked up. Now he's like, now it's like that, not addictive, but, like, you can't really live without it. You maybe are out in public, you start shaking and shit like that. And it's like, maybe on some antidepressants or shit like that. It's like, dude, like, you have all these ideas in your head. You're so creative. You're so, like, just far above the rest. Like, the conversations we have are fucking awesome. We could have these on a national and international scale. But, like, and you're like, oh, I'm on antidepressant meds and shit like that. I'm like, dog, like, come on. Like,
well, so here's the thing.
And I'm not, like, insulting them, but it's like,
no,
it's like, but that's what it is. It's the indoctrination of it. It's like, that's why I'll trust a doctor, but not to prescribe me something.
Yeah. So I don't necessarily mean it in that way.
Okay.
I think chemical imbalance is a real thing.
Yes.
And medication for that is important if you find the right one that works for you between you, your doctor, or whatever team that you're working with. I'm more so speaking about, I was 6 years old and they fucking shoved Ritalin down my throat.
Jesus.
In what fucking world do you need to do that to a child?
That's fucking hard.
So when I say indoctrinated into the idea of a chemical solution, I mean I was literally born into the idea that I needed pills to be normal. So the direct pipeline between young people, very, very, very young people.
Children. Literally.
Yes, being given medication. The pipeline between that and later in life becoming addicted to drugs, it's so significant that it should no longer be ignored. It should be talked about more. Not necessarily people being on medication in general. Right. I mean, me personally, I'm terrified. I've been on every fucking medication known to man when I was a kid growing up. Yeah. Should I be medicated? Ask my friends. They'll tell you. Fucking probably. But I'm scared. So
no, of course. And I mean, I had that with weed. Like, I'm 235 days clean.
Nice.
Last time I did it was on my birthday last year, and it gets to a point where it just doesn't serve you anymore, And I'm trying to find that with alcohol. With alcohol, with me, it's like,
it's a social thing probably.
Yeah. And I just have to learn the control of it. But like, and I do think about this experience with weed, because in college I came into, I'm like, oh fuck yeah, we're gonna smoke big blunts, big fucking doinks, all that shit, big doobies, all that, and I was freaking waking up at 8 a.m. doing it, dude. I didn't even give my brain a chance to wake up.
Right.
And then it got to a point where it's like, all right, college is fun, whatever, I'm smoking. Pandemic rolls around, I come back home, like, am I really about to start, like, smoking at home? Like, my parents didn't mind it, but they still, like, give me kind of, like, the side eye.
Yeah.
I just brush it off or whatever. But I'm thinking about, like, damn, like, I'm actually smoking, like, in my house. And I had never done that to that point. And then just from there, it gradually just started to get to this point where I'm getting freaking, like, panic attacks just hitting weed. I'm getting, like anxiety over, like, future shit that's not even happening right now.
Yeah.
But because it's, like, in my head, it's like that type, like, it's like hyperventilating. Then I'm freaking doing the dab pen. I'm getting heart palpitations. I'm like, bro, like, what the fuck is this? I stop it, they go away. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, that's so fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, wow, that, like, actually stopping doing that shit saved me. That's fucking crazy. And then, like, it just got to a point where it's like, you know what? This shit really doesn't serve me. Let alone the money I was wasting.
Right.
Just my mentality. It's like, I've seen people do it. Why not me? Type of shit. But yeah, I'm obviously gonna go for 100 days and a year and beyond. It's just because I like even now I even see it myself. I get asked if I want to do it, I just say no. You know,
Right.
if you told me that in college, I would look at you with 5 fucking heads. Mm-hmm. It's like me taking a break in college was like a week.
Yeah, but you had to be ready.
Right.
You had to want it.
Right.
You know, nobody can want it for you.
No. And that you know, I was looking for that savior, but it's like, dude, the savior's yourself. You know, it's you can ask for help, sure, but
yeah,
you gotta want it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, because I don't know what clicked for me, dude. I couldn't tell you.
Some did, and I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
You know,
I couldn't tell you.
I think that's the ultimate purpose is you're still here. You know, you're still delivering art to the world. You're still being that beacon of light for people who are going through what you went through.
Right.
And, you know, like I said, anytime you're in a room, it's an instant smile.
Oh,
you know,
stop.
I don't know. I'm just going to make you blush and shit like
Thank
that.
you.
But we're going to wrap this episode up. But before we do, if there's any last kind of words you want to give, any shout outs to any people, you know, any other anticipation you want to build for the album, please let the good people say that note right now.
I'm always bad at like these shoutaways.
That's okay.
Why don't you rapid question?
What's up?
Rapid question.
Rapid question? Okay.
Why don't you rapid?
Right.
I know your ass got like 3 or 4 more, dude.
Yeah,
I know it.
Yeah, let's do it. All right.
Rapid.
So, dream car.
Ooh, I really like the old G bodies.
Okay.
Really like old
Favorite
schools.
food place in the North Shore?
Fuck. Oh, fuck. Londy's PVD near the high school, or Typico on Essex Street in Lynn.
And what's your order from there?
Typico?
Both.
Typico, I'll get like the chicken stew with some white rice, and then sweet plantains, and maybe a cheese empanada, and then obviously a 3-way.
Of course, absolutely.
Obviously a 3-way from
That's
Londy's.
a North Shore thing right there. And what is one out of the box random place on Earth that you would like to perform at? Doesn't have to be a city.
Wow. Like just any place?
Any place. If you had to think the wildest place you could put on a show.
Oh, man. Well, I did a show at the Village Green in Danvers when it was a retirement home.
Did you really?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah, that
No
was
shit.
fucked up. No,
Yeah.
it was weird. It was so weird.
yeah, I mean-
I was really high, too. It was insane. I don't know how I got there. So I think I've already crossed that boat bridge. I've been there, done that. I don't know. That's a good-ass question, dude.
Because you see, I want to do a podcast show either at the top of the Empire State Building or literally like I had this thought the other day. It's like in the middle of a busy street. So like, you know, the Shinjuku, you ever hear the Shinjuku crossing in Japan? It's like where 3,000 people go as soon as the lights turn off.
Yes.
It's that type of thing.
Yeah.
I want to fucking do that.
Ooh.
Because I feel like that visual will look so cool. It's just someone talking to each other while everyone's passing.
I got my answer.
All
right. My funeral.
Okay.
So I'm dead, but they prop me up like an animatronic Chuck E.
Like
Cheese.
Weekend at Bernie's type thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But like more animatronic, like Chuck E. Cheese vibes. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? You remember Chuck E. Cheese
Of course,
band?
like Five Nights at Freddy's, all that shit.
Yeah, exactly. So like my final wish would be like at my funeral, freak everybody out, stuff me, like that.
Yeah. We'll work some puppetry.
And yeah, exactly. Set me up, animatronic, either that or hang me up by like you know, the hooks.
Right. Yeah.
And then I just swing around.
Like those freaking Halloween decorations or shit.
And my eyes need to be open.
Okay.
So it looks like I'm looking at people.
Yeah.
So
I think we could make your mouth move a little bit. So
Yeah.
we can get
Yeah.
I think we can get some ventriloquism going there and shit like that, right?
yeah, that's it. That's the
All right.
dream.
Absolutely. All right.
That's it, dude.
Favorite color? Black. Thank you. Me too. Me too.
Black technically
Guilty.
isn't a color.
Is it not?
No.
Really?
Yeah, technically it's not a color.
What is it? It's just like a shade or
It's an
something?
amalgamation of all of them.
No shit. Oh,
I
yeah,
think.
fucking know that.
Yeah,
See, learn
right?
something new every day. See, usually wearing black too. Obviously, black. You
Gotta
know,
Google that.
right? Yeah, we're get some Googles in here real quick. All right. But okay, back to the performance thing. Country you want to perform in that you haven't yet?
Anywhere in Europe.
You haven't hit Europe yet?
Not yet.
Not
Not yet. I had a cool conversation today.
Okay, great.
Not yet.
Yeah, because I feel you know what
I was
would be-
right.
Black is generally considered a color, although it can be described as the absence of color or the absence of light.
There we go.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. Because there's Vanta Black, and Vanta Black's like
insane.
like the ultimate
Very
version
black,
of
yeah.
the color black. It's like it's like no light. It's like a black hole pretty much. No light can ever trap in there. But what I was going to say before we got out of here was, I think a good city for you, and I'm not like your fucking tormentor or anything.
You're gonna say London?
No. I'm gonna say like Vienna, Austria.
Oh,
or like
yeah.
Hungary, Budapest.
Yeah, I'm
like
down for all that.
That's like more into Europe.
Yeah.
But those cities are so fucking beautiful.
Dude, my shit would go off overseas.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh,
like no
crazy.
matter where, obviously, but I'm just so drawn to those two cities because I'm a big Anthony Bourdain guy.
I love Anthony Bourdain.
I fucking love Anthony Bourdain, you know? And I always tell the story of how I was in Italy for the first time when he died.
No.
So I'm literally like doing like all the shit he does, and like I'm just so that's you know what, that's what gets me in my head. It's like I've been home too much. You know, he's always like, if I'm an advocate for anything, it's to move, whether it's across the river or across the sea, move. And that's just like, like, you know what I mean? Like I look at my friends, like I don't want to travel alone because I want to share that experience with someone. But it's like that's why I'm like all my friends like, get your fucking money up and let's get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I don't I don't travel unless it's for music. Because I don't want to ruin it for myself. I want the first thing I experience, or the reason why I'm going to each new place, to be for music specifically.
Okay, I like that a lot.
You know what I mean?
That's
like
a great way of
even
looking at it.
Boston Calling.
Right.
Like I got invited to go years ago, and I said I'm not going there unless I'm playing there.
Okay.
Because I want
didn't
to
know
experience it firsthand as like a part of it. Right. You know what I mean?
Now, do you have any thoughts about them, you know, skipping a year? You think it's because of the World Cup? Because that's what a lot of people have been saying.
I don't know. It's not like I'm fucking
right.
tight with them. You know what I mean?
Because Mike's worked it, actually. He has worked it. So
yeah.
Did you feel like they needed a year off, or did you feel like
The rain killed them. I imagine that the rain killed them. They're a little bit in the red, and they want to just kind of give it a little bit of time.
Yeah, again, I was doing artist transports, and so like they were giving me the ins
the ins and outs. But as a outsider, you thought
I felt as though a night off is needed.
Yeah,
Or, sorry,
a year
a
off.
year
off
off,
is
excuse
needed,
me.
right? All right. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, this was hands down one of my favorite interviews that I've ever done.
Aw.
And I mean that sincerely. I was looking forward to this episode a whole lot. I was actually a little nervous because I want to make sure I came correct with the questions. But Justin, thank you so very much
thanks
for coming on here. Thank you so much for, coming, making the drive up, obviously.
Let me yap, dude.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Big time yapper. Ladies and gentlemen, I want y'all to be on the lookout for No Blondes in Heaven, releasing August 8th.
Fucking album of the year.
Album of the year, exactly. And what I want y'all to do is to get your fucking tickets to the Brighton Music Hall on August 16th.
Show of the year.
All right? Show of the year, right. If you heard whatever he said tonight about performing and you haven't seen him perform,
You're fucking up.
look up some clips, He's like the quarterback of this fucking shit. Look it up, and you will not want to miss that show. I'll see you there, hopefully. So, also, before we leave, any socials, where can they find you, all that stuff?
Justin Clancy, everywhere.
Everywhere. Every single way. That's like one of the easiest names to remember. As for me, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into this awesome fucking episode. If you enjoy this episode, which I'm sure you did, leave a like and comment under it about what you specifically liked about it. And as always, hit that subscribe button. Again, follow me on Instagram. It's say_that_pod. And my personal is REPETE617. And as make sure you follow us on Apple and Spotify too. With that being said, and thank you so much again for another great episode, Justin. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Don't say
man.
this. Say that.
That.
And we'll see y'all in the next episode.
Up.
That's all right. You want to do it again? Let's do it.
No,
Okay,
no, that's all right. All right.
You
all
sure?
Right. Yeah.
Ready?
Wait.
Ready?
Okay, we're doing
We're
it.
doing don't say
All
this,
right,
say that.
all
Ready?
right.
1, 2, 3. Don't say this, say that.
That.
Yeah, no, that.
That.
It's
This?
like, ooh, is it what?
Not this.
No,
That.
not that. No, never
Okay,
saying
specifically
this. You always
that.
got to say
All right,
that. It's
that.
that's the point of it. But we
That.
will see y'all in the next episode.
That.
Peace.